don't you tell us about this article? Why does ancient art contain depictions of flying aircraft, helicopters, and dinosaurs?
To answer your question, I think the way it got in was because it was from Michael Snyder, and I think they linked to him so often that when the truth, which is the actual source, picked it up, that I think InfoWars and Prison Planet went with it. There's been an awful lot of study on this. It seems that for a long time. Not just in Ezekiel, because that one's actually one of the more questionable ones. But in many other ancient works, you find flying things that resemble the inside. For instance, Ancient Aliens mentions the inside of a cockpit that looks like a modern NASA ship. Well, this one is one that depicts helicopters. It says the history of the planet is far more complex than most people would dare imagine. According to the commonly accepted version of history, as we know, it is taught in high schools and colleges all over the U.S. that ancient man was a very simple creature and had limited knowledge. Unfortunately, for those that promote the flawed version of history, archaeologists keep digging up stuff that directly contradicts it. The truth is that there is a tremendous amount of evidence of great intellectual achievement in the ancient world. For example, it says, just consider the Great Pyramid of Giza. It is a true technological marvel. It mentions that it's a massive structure, extraordinary precision and modern technology, only are just now starting to figure out exactly how they made this thing. We think that we could possibly build a smarter structure today if we wanted to, but modern man has never actually constructed anything like it. It says, there's a picture of it on here. The Great Pyramid of Giza is far from the only example. There's a photograph here of the Egyptian temple of Abydos, Abydos, and literally at the top of it is what is clearly seen as a helicopter. There's no other way around it. It is an ancient picture of a helicopter. There are ancient carvings of dinosaurs, such as the Stegosaurus, on walls. And
hey Kyle, I have it right here on my screen share.
Yeah, I'm looking at it, and let me just jump in with kind of the devil's advocate to this, because I've seen this picture, I've seen a few other ones like it, and I look at that picture, and yes, I see what seems to be a helicopter up there in the corner. I see what looks right next to it like some sort of boat. Underneath of it, what looks like pretty much like some sort of spaceship, some sort of like UFO type thing, but
and
I
there's
also
like a flying insect right here too, so it's like it sort of corresponds, and like a sea monster, and then helicopters and submarines, and like you said, look like spaceships.
But I will say though that while looking at that, I'm looking at that as somebody who's seen a helicopter, who's seen a submarine, who's seen a boat. Isn't it possible, just to kind of look at it from the other perspective, that we're looking at something that's totally different? Like if we had a time machine and we went back in time and talk to the people who inscribed this, they might be like, oh no, that's the thing I used to make toast every morning.
The unusual, if that was the only one that it was depicted in, that would probably be an option. But that's one of many. That's just the one that they started the article off with. Like I said, the picture below it is a picture of a Stegosaurus, which was never supposed to have been around. Yet on a Buddhist temple is clearly a dinosaur, and supposedly, we weren't alive with dinosaurs at the same time. And there's other technological ones as well that can be found, as you mentioned, in Ancient Alien. This one does mention two instances just in one article where it mentions the flying devices that we're talking about, and then that man coexisted with dinosaurs. But I guess to answer your question, it's important to realize that both of these have many other instances where they occurred as well.
And I agree with you, and I have seen that. And what I get from this is we really don't know anything about ancient history, pre-recorded history. We try to say, like it says in that article, that we were just human beings, were very simple hunters and gatherers, didn't do that much. But there's evidence for that, but there's a lot of evidence against it. Like, why did we build all these, not us, but why did ancient people build these giant pyramids and obviously know a lot about the sky and about the stars and about our place in the universe.
Oh, yeah.
And I've been reading stuff left and right recently about how what we think of as fact when it comes to history being disproven. Like, I think we talked about it a few weeks ago, the footprints in the sand, not the poem about Jesus, but there were footprints that were found on this beach that got uncovered by, I forget what caused it, but they were footprints that they were able to carbon date back to well before we thought that humans were evolved to the point that these footprints showed. And we keep finding things like human records and human fossils going further and further back and getting closer and closer to when dinosaurs roamed the earth. We don't know, but at the same time, like the pyramids of Giza, an amazing technological front, an amazing show of engineering, some things done there that we're not even sure if we could do now, but at the same time, they played a game similar to football with a human head underneath that pyramid.